Hi class, we're going to start off by doing some watercolor swatches to practice watercolor technique. First of all, I have my watercolors, which is a different set than you guys have, but it should work about the same. A brush, paper towels, and 2 things of water. One of them is going to be my clean water and one is for my dirty water. So we're going to do a bunch of different techniques, and we're going to start by doing wet on wet. So you put your brush in the clean water and make a square. Okay, now we are going to, let's do some blue. You can do any color you want. So you can see what happens if you paint onto something that's already wet. Now let's try it wet on dry. So you clean off your brush in the dirty water before you go to your clean water. Get the next color, so we'll try orange this time. You can do whatever color you want. So as you can see, it's a completely different look if it's wet on wet or wet on dry. Okay, let's clean our brush. Now we're going to do a flat wash. So you get some clean water, and I'll do this color this time. And you get a lot on there. You really want it really wet so you have like a bead of watercolor on your brush. You can see it. Oh, there's like a little bit of a wet bead. That gives you that kind of look. It's very thick. Okay, let's do a gradient now. So clean your brush really well in the dirty water. And go into the clean water. Let's do green. Okay, get some water. Okay, so you see it has a gradient. It goes from dark to light. Okay, now we're going to do the bleed technique. We have 2 colors that bleed into each other. So first we do one color. Clean it. Now I'll do another color. And see how they bleed into each other. Now if we want it to be more like a blend, do one color, clean it, the other color. And you get more of like a blend effect. Okay, now we'll do some more wet on wet, but this time with 2 colors. So we'll do the first color, would be yellow. We'll do one that's also wet on dry right next to it. Okay, so we're gonna let this one dry. But while this one's wet, go for a second color. And so you get that kind of look. Okay, and to do some more wet on dry and wet on wet experiments, we're going to, let's pick a new color. Okay, well this one's still wet. I'm gonna add a second color. So you'll see where they layer, they mix, they also bleed a bit. So we'll do the same thing on that when it's dry. Okay, we're gonna do another kind of wet brush and dry brush. So for this one, we're going to drop in some colors like this. We're gonna do a second color. Okay, now we'll try the same thing here, but on dry. So you'll see how different they are. This is dry brush. Wet on wet. Okay, these are dry now, so let's go back to them. See the difference? If it's wet or if it's dry. And do the same thing down here. So see the difference if it's wet or if it's dry. The layering will show through, but it'll still have hard edges, and here it's going to blend. So play with the different, like you have some wide brushes and small brushes and flat brushes, all different kinds of brushes. So please try out different ones. This is actually an acrylic brush, because that's what I have at home right now, but you guys have a whole kit of watercolor brushes, so use those. But as you can see, you can get some wider marks or some skinnier marks. If you use your wider brush on the side, get thick. But if you go on the edge, you can get thinner. So call this mark making. And now I'll do some flicking, some splattering. Give you a really fun effect. Okay, so now we're going to make a little bit of a glazing chart. Glazing is where you layer different colors on top of each other to create different colors. So to do this, you can use all your colors that you have. I'm just going to use 4. Okay. All right, so what you're going to do, clean your brush. Really good. Okay. Start with yellow. And you just go all the way across the top with one color. Okay. And do green. So you can choose whatever colors you want. You could do every single one. I'm just keeping it simple and just choosing 4. As you see, it gets confusing, which it's easy to mix up the waters. So if you have to ever just pour it out and get clean water, that's fine. Now you have to wait until this dries. Okay, now we're gonna have fun with salt. So pick a color. I think I might even do like 2 colors. Okay, so while it's still wet, grab salt. Okay, so we'll let that dry and see what happens. We'll pick a color. And kind of pick it up while it's still wet. Give it a bit of make it lighter to get some interesting effects that way. Or what if it's dry already? Is there a way to erase? So I'll show you. You'll never get it perfect, but I'll show you how you can erase a little bit once that dries. Okay, and then for our last one, let's do something creative and experimental. So you guys can do whatever you want. I'm gonna try this. Clean out a piece of paper, painting around it. Okay, so I'll put that experimental. You could also use the paper towel to add color as well. Okay, so now these are dry. So I'm gonna show you how you can erase if you mess up a little bit. You get your Q-tip wet, kind of draw there, and then you take the other side that's dry and go a little bit more. See, you can erase. Okay, so now the glazes are dry. We're going to go the other way, the same colors. So I can show you how you can get some really neat mixing effects if you put different colors on top of other colors.